So very impressed on that. The heals overall were good. The Bloodlust pick, I'm still not sure I agree on it, but it certainly netted them a fair amount of kills and was able to win them the game in the end. So it worked out in their favor.
Oh
and
my god.
BTG, they choose to take us to Braxis.
To the new Braxis, I want to say. Braxis 2.0, if you want to call it that way. We now have the new Zerg waves in effect, since we're playing on the live patch here with new Jimmy and Asmo. That means if you happen to get a weaker wave, like a 0% wave, for example, you're still going to get an Ultra, you're still going to get a Hydra, you're still going to have something pushing against the enemy team. And Tetcher, the most important change, in my opinion, is the beacon change. Can you elaborate on how it works right now?
I don't know. I have not read the patch notes because I did not expect to have to cast this today.
No problem, man.
I didn't expect to have to cast any of this. I had to look up the changes to... I knew the changes to Reyna and Asmodan because I played them, and Alexstrasza because I played them, but I hadn't looked at any of the map changes because I did not expect to cast them this week.
No worries. So the way the beacon works right now is in order to contest it, you no longer have to have full control over it, but as long as one enemy hero is stepping on it, after 1 second, I believe, it's going to go back to neutral. So you're not going to have these infinite stalling, you know, on the beacon. As long as one hero is on there, you can't have it. La-di-da-di-da. No, as long as two heroes, one of each team, are standing on the beacon, it's going to be contested.
Okay, so that means this map could go on for a lot longer.
That is true.
All right, neat, interesting. Okay, I kind of dig it. It also means that Rexar is even more powerful now.
No, he's weaker. He's weaker because the Misha can't hold it infinitely anymore. So as long as the enemy hero stands on it, it goes to neutral.
I mean, neutral's not the worst thing. You're still soaking experience.
You're still soaking experience. That's correct, but you can't hold it, so the Zerg wave continues to charge anymore. It's getting interrupted.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough. You convinced me with that one. As we do see the Genji banned out by BTG. Just ban out Hanzo. Yeah. Oh wait, their first pick. I guess they could first pick Hanzo, but ban out Hanzo. Just limit dancing a bit. He's good on the hero. Give him some respect.
You know, Tensher, this might also be a really good wake-up call for TheOne, because if you've been winning games over and over and over again, sometimes you may not take the games too seriously, or you're getting a certain routine, you're getting a little sloppier than before. So this might sometimes be, you know, a really good moment for TheOne to start all over again and just really enter beast mode that they've shown us, you know, to wake the beast. I want to call that move by Beyond the Game.
We see Yrel banned out by TheOne instead of Hanzo. Makes sense. Still incredibly dominant on this map. And Phoenix banned out by BTG. It's been very popular by TheOne in a lot of their drafts recently. So now, are they going to try and steal away the Hanzo, or put priority onto a support, or even onto a tank?
Yep. First pick on Braxis, always an important one. Could have been Diablo, there we go. Could have been a Muradin if they really wanted to go for that tank rep. But I think for a longer laning phase, you know, in the bottom, in the top, Diablo's actually really solid here because he's going to farm those souls very, very consistently. And for those beacon fights as well, he has a lot of walls to slam enemies into. So he's going to be very hard to shove away from that beacon in the first place. Now, how is Beyond the Game going to respond here? They go for the Hanzo, no surprise here. So they keep the tools that have worked so well for them in the past. The Hanzo and Druid, of course, on that Malfurion now, his go-to hero.
And Malfurion always strong, so now TheOne, very likely they will pick up the Decade here. Unless they have a plan that requires another support. But Decade, fantastic on this area. Like you said, that beacon control is important. Having sustain on it's good, and potions are the tool that can be used for that. There's Decade, and here is potentially the solo laner, but can also potentially be in the 4-man on this map, 2-lane map, so it's pretty easy to gain stacks. Could be the Thrall with the Crash Lightning, but we will see.
Yeah, normally Thrall is played as a solo laner, you're totally right. And with, you know, Yrel being already out of the picture, there's not a whole lot of heroes that hard counter the Thrall anymore. Like, Malthael is still going to be a little tricky sometimes. Sonya can be a little bit of a problem sometimes as well, but I don't think Beyond the Game actually plays it.
Yeah, Jaina removed. A lot of focus onto the Jaina in the ban phase. China really shows how high the entire Chinese region prioritizes her.
I don't think we've seen a single Jaina today at all because she's always been banned.
Been banned or just ignored. Mostly just banned. So now, next ban, final ban for TheOne. There's no tank on the enemy team. Garrosh is going to be the ban of choice. So there's still Johanna and there's still Muradin left available, which is not an issue at all. Maybe with Stitches, they already have Malfurion if they wanted to be a little bit saucy.
So, are we going to see that Chromie here, maybe? Maybe a sneaky Chromie. She's very good at Braxis because of that forced laning. She has a really good time, you know, landing those Sandblasts onto the enemy team. Like, it's no uncommon phenomenon to see a Chromie fully stacked after 6-7 minutes here. But they go for the tanks for now. Dehaka super solid with that global, good wave clear, and Muradin.
You mentioned Chromie, other mage who could also fit this map very well, called Dan, could also fit out here. Yep. Damage over time, always welcome. Although Chromie a little bit more efficient against Deckard Cain, so I do agree with you that I would prefer that choice. But I wouldn't be too unhappy to see cooldown because there's no cleanse, so the Horrify could also work very well.
Yeah, and I think that's a little something Beyond the Game still needs. Oh, here we go! Someone are busting it out. Rainer's been deployed.
And this is Jimmy, and once again, also with Falstad on the board again, it's still pretty vague as to who's in the solo lane. Falstad could easily lane against Dehaka with very little difficulty, and here's the response. Terran TVT time. Sergeant Hammer deployed by apparently dancing.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Looks like they can switch those ranged assassin roles like we just saw here with dancing now very likely on that Sergeant Hammer. So it's a little unfair, right? If you're coming from StarCraft, like a Marine against a siege tank, I don't think it would really...
No, that's a one-sided battle.
That's a one-sided battle, but you're talking to an elite Marine, right? You're talking to James Eugene Rayner, after all.
With his Marshal skin. So he is here to insert some lore into the Nexus.
All right.
Also TVT on a Terran map. This is perfect.
Now, let's try to analyze this a little bit more. So we talked about Rayner being this really strong ranged assassin right now with the ace in the hole at level 1, right? Providing 30% extra damage on all of his abilities and auto attacks. If the target is stunned or slowed, roots don't work here, by the way, guys. So how many slows do they have? We talked about it. Jimmy, of course, has his own slow on the queue. These days, he could go for his own slow on his Given Some Pepper at level 7 with the Unstable Compound. What was the warrior? Diablo? Yeah, he has a stun. He has Lightning Breath, which is a tremendous slow.
So, of course, Ace in the Hole is going to be very effective there.
Yeah.
But on the counter side, this is a very long laning map. Basically, the entire game is spent in the laning phase, outside of like the middle of it, where there's a little bit of time spent in the jungle. If there was a time for Rayner to go for Veteran Marksman, or maybe even the Behemoth armor, Muradin's gonna be standing in front of Hammer all the time. You could get the value, but we will have to wait and see as we are loaded into the brand new Braxis holdout. With Beyond the Game on the left, 619 on Muradin, LLK on Hanzo, Druid on Malfurion, Dancing on Sergeant Hammer, and 3 is playing Dehaka.
And facing them is TheOne, currently down 0-1, actually, quite as surprisingly. With Hugo on Thrall, Muggle on that Falstad, Meng is playing Jimmy, He is on that Diablo, and ZJZ on that support on the Deckard Cain. And it is the mastermind Meng himself who busts out the Rayner here for the second time of that day in HGC China. One of the strongest assassin players in the league, without a doubt. So let's see if he can make Jimmy shine. Because in the first game we saw him earlier today, it didn't really work out so well for RPG.
And we are seeing the ace in the hole coming in for Rayner, nothing out of the ordinary. And look at this. They tried to bait BTG here. They sent Thrall with the group without picking his level 1 and Falstad down to bot lane, preparing to globally rotate if they needed to. The problem is, if this was supposed to be a bamboozle, Falstad shouldn't have picked his level 1 because he went for Gathering Storm, trying to get the four-man stack on bot lane, trying to see if he could get the bait. This was the idea behind it, but because it ended up being the four-man top lane, not only was Falstad denied his stacks, but also the bamboozle was completely denied as well.
I like it. Just the way you brought it up, Teacher, really nice. The ultimate disaster would have been complete if Thrall had gone for Crash Lightning, which we're very happy he didn't, right? So he at least gets a nice... a little bit of extra time here completing his Echo of the Elements. Look at Jimmy, actually. Meng reinforcing this push against 3. So Hugo and Meng, the dream team, if you will, are now trying to mess with the Dehaka. But the tongue lands on Jimmy. Activate your E. Not going to be enough, though.
Yeah,
that was unnecessary.
I think Meng might be used to more mobile heroes.
That's probably true.
We see him getting absolutely crushed. getting pulled in by the Dragon 3, unable to dodge it. That's first blood.
Look at this, it always goes back to normal. It always goes back to 50-50. It's a really neat change on Braxis, which keeps the beacons a little more fair, I would say, fair and square.
Hugo is out of mana. This is a risky fight for him to stay around in, but they realize Reina is probably coming back soon. They do decide to back up.
Exactly. So both beacons now currently split, but it looks like Muradin's trying to capture this one back. And guys, with that change to the beacon, you know, staying neutral as long as each team has at least one hero on the platform, we can expect much longer early game laning, early game skirmishes around that beacon, because otherwise, if you know, the one had hold it, for example, and they had also had control of the top one, that would have already been a charging Zerg meter. For now, though, everything is still neutral, everything is still at 0.
Meng starting to put on the pressure onto 3 as he tries to get the good angle. Good knockback, preventing the drag onto Hugo here. And he finally does get control of the spot lane, at least for the moment. Problem is, it's 2v3.
Yeah.
Even with no one actually blocking for the hammer. Right now, the entire objective appears to be just poke down hammer, because ZJ said it's been doing that, and he's completely for it.
Exactly.
So, this is... the top 4's going to die. There's no question about that. Unless the one starts to pull off some moves here, then they're going to die. Speaking of which, Behemoth Armor coming in for Meng. He's going to be a tanky Marine.
Yeah, he gets 250 health immediately, and for every given some pepper proc on his trade, he's going to get 5 additional permanent health. And the more health you have on Jimmy, I mentioned this before, the more healing you're going to receive numbers-wise from your Adrenaline Rush, right? Because it scales with your max health. So higher health numbers, definitely good for the Jimmy. Now, speaking of Jimmy, needs to be careful. Gets flanked and engaged on by the Muradin, by the Dahaka already, but is in his safe zone up to this point.
Oh dear, barrel roll, but gets Mario'd by 619, who just stomps him. And we're going to see not the double channel, because literally everyone rotated down here, but the reason they have rotated down here, top 4's dead.
They're done. Yeah, exactly. And I can't believe that the one just let it go through like that. I mean, sure, it's hard to stop a Sergeant Hammer that is sieged up and protected by his team, but to give them a fort for free without even getting a single tower in the bottom as a response, this is just nuts. And Hugo is probably going to fall victim to this 2-man assault yet again. Nope, Meng for the rescue. Jimmy's got this.
Jimmy got this. And here comes he as well. They deliver him onto Hugo, but Hugo, Frostwolf Resilience, gets the healing, stays alive. In the meantime, though, bot lane is starting to look familiar to my minimap.
That is true. They are leaving the Sergeant Hammer unattended, and that could really hurt them, bite them in the butt if they continue to do this. Let's see. At least they gain control of the beacons right now.
Yeah, double channel is acquired, but Dancing is now sieged up. Hover Siege is available, and this is where he starts to have issues with heroes like Sergeant Hammer. He's not built for this kind of thing.
All right, now 4-man unit assembled and grouped up here in the bottom for Beyond the Game. They haven't really taken down the towers here just yet, but simply because of that fort and all that pressure they were able to establish in the top lane, that's why they're currently sitting on almost a 1-level lead. They take down the gate, so they have vision to the defenders behind it, and it looks like the one is just mirroring their moves from previously, right? They're completing letting it go.
Yeah. They don't even have Muradin here to tank the shots for Dancing. They're letting him do it himself. As we do see, by the way, heavy slugs. Activate to increase the distance of your next penetrating round by 30% and increase its slow duration to 6 seconds. Coming in for Meng here, giving his team a little bit more disengaged, a little bit of crowd control abilities here, and some more slows for himself, but he didn't. This is going to, once again, affect his ace in the hole, so a little bit of extra slow duration for him to get more damage output.
This can actually be really good in the later stages of the game if you go for Paint Them Red at 16, which is going to give you more damage on your Q in the first place, but also gives you massive healing if you land it on enemy heroes. And speaking of enemy heroes here, Dancing needs to be careful, just barely escapes the Scroll of Sealing, and Muggle, unlucky there, almost went for that golden hammer.
Muggles used all his mobility abilities, but he with the zoning comes in and keeps him alive. But Hammer, so lucky, but here's the issue there. Hammer, too greedy with that play. She tried to unsiege and boost away, immediately invalidating the ability to use siege tactics. She actively put herself in danger to try and escape. when the easier move would have been to escape slower, trust Malfurion to do your healing for you, and then boost. Just wait out the CC, play the game of chicken that you're likely going to win. As in comes the gank, as top fort's been taken down, making it a 1-for-1 fort-wise.
Yeah, and I was going to say, finally, TheOne did some serious work up in that top lane, right? They were able to get a fort. They were able to get a lot of experience as a result. Murdered in the CC chain gets natural cleanse, but not early enough. And they kill the main tank of Beyond the Game, are now full momentum. He needs to be a little careful. He got chunked down pretty low himself, though.
Mogul actually predicted the escape route of Muradin there, picking up the kills. They turn around and tell, okay, he uses the terrain to get away. Scroll of Ceiling, dodged by 3, using the burrow. They're holding the point, the double channel, because Dahaka did come down here to help instead of recapturing top. Yep. So now, Meng, with the knockback, not able to knock 3 off the point, though. We are going to see the point finally neutralized. 48-38 in favor of TheOne. And they're going to hit level 10, despite a terrible start to the game where they lost that top fort so quickly. They're beginning to stabilize. Look at this little push in here. They need some vision of it so they can start to turn this around. A 619 forced off the point. And with no one in top, the channel begins to tick up again.
Yeah, Malfurion had to teleport back as well because he was running out of juice, right? He was running out of mana. So without the support, they couldn't really go for those aggressive plays. But now, here we go. We see the Hinterlands blast on Falstad. Even more damage coming through. Hyperion by Raynor as well. Full AoE damage control seems to be the name of the game for TheOne. Can they make it happen with a good lightning breath? Diablo trying to bait more of those shots, more of those abilities onto his massive body.
He's tanking as best he can. Meng also has to drop his own healing, keeping himself alive. Everyone else pulls back. TheOne finally willing to give a little bit over here.
Yeah.
The longer these go on, though, better stacks for Behemoth armor, better stacks for Gathering Storm. This is the kind of fight that TheOne wants, not the fights that were happening earlier in the lanes. This is what they wanted to force, and it's worked.
It worked indeed, and already you can see the two globals actually marching towards the top lane, right? Dahaka tries to get it. Mogul is probably trying to keep him at bay there. And both globals can use the flight, the Brushstalker, to reinforce their team's sides here, just in case a team fight is about to break down here in the bottom lane. It looks like that might actually be the case very soon.
Scroll of Ceiling was pretty good. Falstad has arrived. Hinterland, here comes the lightning reference. 619 will be dropped here. Hyperion zones out everyone else. Dahaka comes in. Isolation onto the side, though, onto Thrall, preventing him from coming in. There's the drag, forcing him to come in as LOK gets zoned down from the other side and taken down. And TheOne take the 2-for-0, actually. Nice.
That they do. 2-0 is a pretty good moment for them to basically build up the momentum. Diablo's already riding up towards the second beacon. The mercenary camp had been taken earlier, the fire beds, but nothing really has been achieved with that one. So now they should have noticed that this beacon is going to get taken over by one of the heroes of TheOne. And immediately, you see the moment Diablo left the field, Druid and BTG, they're trying to regain control over this bottom beacon, and they're getting it just in time before the Zerg wave had been completed.
Single percentage was gained there, 84 to 86. Yeah. So they were able to get a tick, it's summon, and they are also able to grab a mercenary camp. They might even try and grab another, but Hanzo scouts it out with the Sonic Arrow here. As both teams, Heroics coming off cooldown here. The furthest one away is Thralls at 27 seconds remaining. Avatar up in 14 for the Muradin, and 25, sorry, is the longest away for Raynor's Hyperion.
All right, minus healing dropped on the Sergeant Hammer already. You can really see how the regrowth duration vanishes whenever that 75 healing reduction kicks in. Now, he takes a lot of damage by that Sergeant Hammer poke and harass. Potions are making up for most of it, though, but if there's a Muradin trying to engage on that tanky Devils, still needs to be mighty careful. The roots are good, the slows are even better.
These tactics box it, though. They're beginning to hold the line. Dahaka currently has control at top as Diablo in trouble. BFG is dropped. He is dropped here. He has souls, but the beautiful flank from 3. Here comes the Hinterland blast. Fully attempted turnaround as Mogul has found himself alone, unfortunately. Barrel roll not available. Yeah. The double, triple kill, in fact, with Diablo down is picked up by BTG. And they have denied the turn-in. They've denied the beacons. TheOne are trying to sneak this, though, while the boss is being taken.
Yeah, it's one of those boss plays here. We've seen those in Cursed Hollow. Diablo is back already. He's a tiny Devils, but he's still trying to go, and nonetheless, the aggro of the boss is still the blue team. Here comes the lightning breath, and they get 1, 2, 3, 4, baby! Almost 4.
What deity did the one make a pact with to earn the allegiance of the bosses here? They turn around, they're looking to steal it, and that boss goes over to the one.
They're going to take this gift with a hand kiss here. Thank you so much, Beyond the Game. We really appreciate you giving us this boss on a silver platter here, basically. Thank you for letting us get back into the game. All your team fighting, all your achievements up to this point are basically invalid here. Not only do they get the boss, they get the slightly stronger Zerg wave as well. And with that boss in Tau, I think they're definitely going to take down this fort. Maybe even the keep. But nah, never mind. Okay. If the Zerg wave had joined them, then maybe. But it's actually good for Beyond the Game that the Zerg wave is keeping the boss occupied and keeping the one at bay for now.
You can see the empowered Zerg wave. This was not 100% one for BTG, but it's still pretty strong. Takes a huge amount of time out of the boss. The big Zerg wave pushes in top lane for the one. And I really want to know what kind of Eldritch patron that the one have managed to get on their side. Doesn't win them games, but it certainly gives them bosses, and bosses can lead to games as they're going to try and push in this bot lane with it.
And, you know, sometimes the Archangel boss on Brax's holdout is ridiculed and mocked here, but in these situations where it's completely uncontested, it can melt down those structures with the AoE ability here, and the rockets constantly popping off here as well. So much trouble now for Murd, and he's going to get popped as well. The minus healing, the lightning breath yet again by Hehe. Well, Tetcher, this might be a keep after all.
Isolation is dodged. Hyperion dropping 3 very low. Stay While Listen was pretty far away from anyone, but they're still able to take down the keep, and now the one can very calmly and safely leave. I would love to know Rainer's Behemoth stacks right now.
Yeah, so normally during an average length game that is going pretty okay for you, you should have an overall bonus health of 500. Maybe the pro players can do more. That's my average experience in Hero League. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like 600, 700 bonus health in a longer game.
Well, we will keep an eye out to see if it pops up. There's going to be no quest complete icon because it's infinite. As we see a little bit of damage coming in from Diablo, gaining himself back some souls, as he is still Little Dibbles, does not have full souls yet.
Yeah, still needs to wait a little bit more, of course, with the build he chose, the full flame build at level 4, 7, 13, 16 most likely. With that W build, he's going to get souls by just hitting enemies, right? So that's really, really useful. And yes, there we go. So now you're going to weaken enemies when they get hit by the Fire Stomp. You're going to get ability power for it. There's so many good things that come with it.
And there are, and we do see the one in control of the game this time. 2-level lead compared to last game where they managed to make their way to even and then died. But this time, looking pretty solid. Next objective about to come online.
Yeah, and you know what, Tetcher? It looked so good in the early game for Beyond the Game. They were the ones choosing this battleground on top of that as well, right? But things have certainly gone south ever since those cursed bosses for Beyond the Game just continued to happen. First on Cursed Hollow, they were still able to bounce back and get that victory in. But here on Braxis right now, with one keep down, the other one already taken some pretty significant damage on the tower line, it's not going to be an easy thing to do right now because map control is so much in favor of the one right now. And since Braxis is a 2-lane map, there's one less lane to soak experience from. So it's going to take even longer for Beyond the Game to catch up.
Here we see, stacks. Where's it? Where is he? Where's Raider?
38.
38, not bad. 68, by the way, on Gathering Storm for Falstad, so not bad. So hang on, 38 times 5, that's going to be over 150 at least, times 8, which is going to be 40, so 190.
Here we go.
Maths is hard.
Well done. All right, on top of the 250 baseline, of course, right?
And I told my teacher I'd never have use for this stuff. As we as we see the triangle getting dodged, scroll ceiling not landing this time.
All right, so the ones he's not done just yet. He's having a really good time with that Diablo right now, basically being that tanky menace that is going to be so hard to kill, especially with level 60 not here yet for Beyond the Game. That means Sergeant Hammer doesn't have the Giant Killer yet, which is such a formidable weapon to deal with enemy warriors against. And Jimmy, by the way, Rainer with that level 16 painted them red. and that is exactly the talent you wanted to go for, right? If you go for the heavy slugs at 7, you have a bigger width, you have a cooldown reduction on your Qs, and when you hit them against enemy heroes right now, not only will they deal more damage, but also you're going to get some massive, massive, massive self-healing. If you don't believe me how massive it is, just wait until you see it in action.
He's gone for the cooldown reduction on it as well, debilitating rounds, so he level 13, so he's going to be spamming that out, getting all of that extra damage, and like you said, all of that healing, which is going to be fantastic. Raider is already tough. If he gets to 20, he's going to be absolutely terrifying.
It might be the end of it. Look at that. Catapults knocking on the door. The heavy Zerg wave is reinforcement trickling in as well. And this could be the last fight for BTG.
Hyperion doing a lot of damage. Hinterland comes in, doesn't get too much done, but the Lightning Breath is hitting 3 heroes here, but Thrall is actually the first to fall. The second to fall, however, is going to be Raider. The core might be third, though. It's dropping low. ZJZ is down. The Ultralisk is there. It's going to be Hee. CC him! Get the Guardians! Get the Guardians! Malfurion, where he's standing, he forces the Guardians to attack him and not the core. The core survives. There's more catapults on the way. They should maybe clear it. But now, 7% versus what's going to be a weakened keep thanks to that empowered Zerg wave. Even though they lost it, it's still stronger than before. With just Hee alive to defend it, Dahaka spends some time clearing the catapults, making sure his team is safe. This could be the turnaround win.
Yeah, look at LK on the Hanzo, by the way. He was there in the bottom, distracting the Guardian Zergs for such a long time. Look at that. He's actually tanking all those shots and prevents them from attacking the core. And that was exactly the ounce of extra damage that they would have needed. Look at that. Takes them all the way to the Hall of Storms and survives as well. On top of that, adds the wave clear. And the perfect hold was a reality for Beyond the Game. They now take the keep as a response. So in terms of structures, it's now even. The only big difference is, of course, that a 7% core can be backdoored at any given time.
Yeah, but they're going to try and make a play happen instead. Sleep is dropped. 3 is low. Hee is even lower, but sneaks away with that flame stop. I think they were trying to sneak across the map, but Raider got rumbled. But as such, instead, the core is safe because the enemy team has been scouted. A counter keep was taken by BTG. The game's not over yet, Kendrick, but they have to be careful. Tunneling Claw's value there from 3.
Gets rooted, though.
This is the tongue, but his team are here. They're keeping him alive.
Yeah, and I really like what Beyond the Game is doing here. The longer they keep the enemy team occupied, the less they're going to have to worry about backdoor shenanigans, right? Especially if it's in the bottom lane here, where the catapults are trickling in. So, careful now. Dahaka takes a lot of damage. Does he have Essence ready?
He has Burrow. That's enough. Diablo's down. No souls available. That's a full cooldown. Meng's in trouble. Gets his heal, though, with that pain and red. He's backing up. Falstad not here. He needs to join his team, just in case. Dahaka is tunneling in. He's looking for Hugo. Isolation is dodged. Drag does not land. Hinterland will dissuade the push from BTG.
Wow.
But the one, they are playing with fire, and unfortunately their only fire wielder is dead as Diablo is still 27 seconds away.
Yeah, and the reason why they didn't follow up on that great blast, Hinterlands blast by Falstad, was because they realized they had mercenaries and catapults on the core already, the one that is. Instead, though, we see another pick for Beyond the Game. They picked up Thrall. This time Hugo is dead again. The boss is available. The beacons are going to activate in 10 seconds, and I think Beyond the Game, to really make this upset a reality, to get that 2-0 against the 1 and get the 3 points, they're going to play it safely. They're going to take for beacon control. They're going to try to maybe get some more mercenaries on their half of the map, but they're definitely, Tetra, not going to take that boss again.
BTG are going to get 20. They're going to have it. They're going to be able to grab this.
Could be orbital.
They're going to be able to get the channel with 20. They can absolutely just go for core here.
Yeah, with that orbital BFG, they can pressure that bottom lane and keep those catapults at bay, right? It's so good to basically have that immediate wave clear. It's like a permanent lava wave on that bottom lane. Yeah. If aimed well, which Dancing... oh, he didn't go for it. He didn't go for it. He went for the attack speed.
Go for it, which is still fine. That's still burning down team fights if they have fights. You can see BTG here, all sitting in the center of the map. The one way they could really lose this game is the backdoor, and they are guarding that with their lives. Only person who can really make it without any issues is Falstad. But I don't even think he can actually burn.
He doesn't have auto attack build either.
Close.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He has a little bit of healing, but the Zerg's on the way. if it's time to go, it's time to go now. We can see them grouping up in bot lane, though. They're trying to defend this.
It's going to be so clutch. I mean, the keep wall is still standing, right? 2 towers, a gate, a keep. Yep. Maybe they can do it. They do have solid wave clear, especially with that lightning breath. Hinterland's blast actually used to bust the banelings. That is a good move.
I really do like that. Flame Stomp comes in as well. The Zerg is being cleared. Lightning Breath, please. Diablo, this time it's full wave clear. They are burning everything to save their keep here. The more time they can burn, the better it is. The Zerg wave in the top lane still pushing. Thrall has already cleaned up the minion wave in the top lane. He is heading across the map. They bought time here. Oh, this is sneaky. Thrall and Falstad are going to backdoor. Thrall and Falstad are going to backdoor. Here's the sleep to buy them some time. BFG, Raider is alive. Hyperion to clear more lanes. Falstad's going to fly. Thrall is on the way. Keeps down. This is going to be a base race, Kendrick.
Can they do it? Beyond the Game is already on the court. They are melting it down, but so are Falstad and Thrall. Two good auto attackers. Can they do it? I think they've actually done it. Now really all they need to do is just prevent them from teleporting back. Sergeant Hammer actually falling to the Jimmy, and they did it. Hugo and Muggle, they make this tie a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about it, but the hold was real for the one, and oh my goodness, what an ending to this explosive series.
That was really nice. I love that. Burning everything. Second that